Good evening, welcome to Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. The Israel-Hamas war is having a huge domestic political resonance. A few days back, NCP chief Sharad Pawar hit out at the stand taken by the BJP and in particular by Prime Minister Modi, saying that India has always backed Palestine and a Palestinian cause and a two-state solution and not given this kind of unqualified, almost unconditional support for Israel. Mr. Pawar said that this is going to cost India, this new change of stand as articulated by the Prime Minister in the immediate aftermath of the terror attack that happened on October 7th. He said it was almost like an unqualified support for Israel. The BJP has hit back by saying that it was in 1992, in a Congress government under Narasimha Rao, when diplomatic ties were established between India and Israel. And Mr. Pawar was a senior minister, a senior member of that cabinet, of that government. So then who is politicizing this whole Israel versus Hamas war here on domestic shores? And what sort of impact is this going to have, if at all it is, in the upcoming elections? Because there seems to be the sense that this may be somebody else's war. This may be between Palestinian Arabs on the one side and Israeli Jews on each other's right to a peaceful existence and each other's right to a self-defense. But it seems like our political parties on the left and the right are living vicariously through someone else's war. So will this have an impact on the upcoming elections? But first, the story so far.
फिलिस्तीनी को नरेंद्र मोदी भी समर्थन कर रहे हैं, लेकिन हमास जैसे आतंकवादी को हम नहीं समर्थन करते।
मेरा लगता है शरद पवार जी सुप्रिया मैडम को भेजेगा गाजा में हमास के लिए लड़ने के लिए।
After going to the BJP, you know how disrespectful they are about women. So I'm not surprised, but I had hope from Hemanto Biswa Sarma ji because we share the same Congress DNA.
Him making a statement about Mrs. Supriya Sule only displays his mindset and the mindset of his party, that is anti-women.
I am really astonished the way Mr. Raja has said, because Israel has been our friend for almost more than 73 years, more than 70 years now, and we have one of the best relations with Israel.
What exactly has been going on in this whole political back and forth that's happening between the India Alliance parties and the BJP? Mr. Pawar was the one who started off first by asking and questioning about the Prime Minister expressing solidarity with Israel, saying that unfortunate that Prime Minister Modi has stood with Israel. Now the BJP has clarified that India, and this is a diplomatic stand taken whether it is UPA in power or NDA in power, India is against all forms of terrorism, and the Prime Minister has only reiterated that in his tweets in the aftermath of the attacks in Israel. Now, Pawar has gone on to question that Israel was the one that encroached on Palestinian land, so this kind of unqualified, unconditional support is not called for. Now, the BJP has countered that. Mr. Pawar is a former defense minister. In fact, I believe he was defense minister when diplomatic ties were established in 1992 in the Narasimha Rao government. Ex-defense minister is treating terror casually, is the BJP's retort to that. Mr. Pawar also said that it's actually Israel and not Palestine which is the outsider in that region. The BJP has hit back by saying that this is a rotten mindset and that this rotten mindset needs to stop. Mr. Pawar said that past prime ministers, whether it was Manmohan Singh or prime ministers before that, have always supported the Palestinian cause and the peaceful coexistence and the move towards a peaceful two-state solution. The BJP has countered by saying that Mr. Pawar must put nation and national interest above politics. Also, Mr. Pawar saying that India has never stood with anyone else. in the case of Palestine, Israel, it has always been that there is the Palestinian people's right to self-determination. The BJP is saying that diplomatic recognition, and I said this at the top of the show as well, India-Israel diplomatic ties happened in 1992 when Narasimha Rao government was in power. But this criticism that Mr. Modi, with his tweets, his conversations with Netanyahu, has somehow changed India's long-standing position, how valid is that? Because is India giving up on the Palestinian cause? Well, not quite so, because today Mr. Modi has had a telephonic conversation with Mahmoud Abbas, the leader of the Palestinian Authority. He's tweeted that, and that is part of our Motorola, India's best 5G smartphone brand tweet of the day.
Hello, Moto.
So this is what the Prime Minister tweeted a short while back after his phone call with Mahmoud Abbas, the leader of the Palestinian Authority. The Prime Minister has tweeted this, spoke to the President of the Palestinian Authority, His Excellency Mahmoud Abbas, conveyed my condolences at the loss of civilian lives in the Al-Ahli hospital in Gaza. We will continue to send humanitarian assistance to Palestine and Palestinian people, shared our deep concern at the terrorism, violence and the deteriorating security situation in the region, reiterated India's long-standing principled position on the Israel-Palestine issue. This is what the Prime Minister tweeted sometime back after his phone call with Mahmoud Abbas, the leader of the Palestinian Authority. Now, let's get to our big debate topic tonight as the opposition questions India's solidarity with Israel after the horrific October 7th terror attack. Is it guilty of not making the separation between Hamas and the Palestinian people and the Palestinian cause? Is it also guilty of ignoring the ghastly crimes of terror committed by Hamas?
Hello, Moto.
All right, joining us on the talking point this evening, Sanju Verma is National Spokesperson of the BJP, Ghanshyam Tiwari, National Spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, Seema Malik is Spokesperson of the NCP, Sharad Pawar faction, and Chaitanya Singh is National Spokesperson of the NCP, Ajit Pawar faction. They're, of course, again, on two sides of the political divide on this issue as well. But Sanju Verma, let me start with you first. What Mr. Pawar has said, and subsequently other India Alliance parties have also said, is that the Prime Minister, by tweeting what he did in the first day of the terror attack and then the phone call with Mr. Netanyahu, it seemed like this was an unqualified, almost like a blank check to Israel to do what it should to protect its interests, and if that risk entails the loss of civilian lives, then so be it. But is India and the Prime Minister now sort of walking back on some of that? The MEA statement was slightly more nuanced. It kind of toned back and again went back to what its statement was over all these years about the Palestinian cause, etc. And today the Prime Minister spoke to Mahmoud Abbas as well. So has that happened post facto is what the India Alliance parties are asking.
Let's be very clear. It's very important for your audience, and you've done umpteen shows and very informative ones at that. Israel became a state, a country, that was created in 1948. From 1948 to 1967, the Gaza Strip was under the occupation of Egypt. From 1967 till 2005, Israel, had the Gaza Strip with it. Gaza was with the Israelis from 1967 to 2005. From 2006 till 2023, as we speak right now, for the last 17 years, Gaza Strip has been with the Hamas, which says that there was an election in the Gaza Strip of Palestine in 2006 and they were duly elected. So first and foremost, currently the Gaza Strip is not with Israelis, it is with Hamas. Hamas is a terror outfit, point number one. Point number two, I think Prime Minister Modi, when he came to power, he was the first Prime Minister to visit Israel in 2017, and he was the first Prime Minister of India to also visit Ramallah in 2018. And why I've mentioned these two instances is to tell your audience that it was under the aegis of Narendra Modi that we dehyphenated our Israel and Palestinian foreign policy. which basically in layman's language means that we will choose to deal with Israel on the merit of our relationship with them. We will also choose to deal with Palestine on the basis of a standalone merit-based relationship with Palestine. Now, the most important point is this. When these 7,000 or 5,000 odd rocket launches happened, somewhere between October 6th, as of morning, October 7th, it was an unprovoked aggression by terror outfit Hamas, and it needed to be condemned unequivocally, unconditionally. And people who are conflating and confusing the dignity of Palestinian people, the right to life of Palestinian people, which we also endorse in no uncertain terms, with Hamas, they are doing a great disservice to the people of Palestine, civilians who have nothing to do with Hamas. My simple argument to Sharad Pawar is this. Please don't teach Narendra Modi diplomacy. Please don't teach Narendra Modi how he should deal with the lives of people in Israel and Palestine, because India has contributed more than its fair share in calling out terror by saying that there is no such thing as good terror and bad terror.
Okay.
But why is it that, Hamas, which is a terror outfit, has not been called out by Sharad Pawar, not been called out by Rahul Gandhi,
Ghanshyam Tiwari, the moot point is this. All of this started on October 7th, and Sanju Verma is right. This was an unprovoked, completely uncalled for terror attack by Hamas, an organization in whose charter it has called for the destruction of Israel. Now, in such an event, and also we as India and Indians, we have been the victims of terror, of Pakistan-sponsored state terror for the last 30, 40 years. How can India and the Indian government not call out that terror and not stand unequivocally with the victims of that terror? So what is wrong with the position that the Prime Minister took that day?
Good evening, Zaka, to you, the viewers and fellow co-panelists. I'll read some headlines. Foreignpolicy.com says Modi's comments on Israel, Gaza war signal shift. So the world is recognizing that Prime Minister Modi has made a foreign policy shift with respect to the Gaza war and the Israel-Palestine issue. That's one. This is what the world press is noting. Second, the world press is saying that since the war, one tragedy for India has been that why is so much anti-Palestinian information coming from India? The right-wing accounts are being accused of putting out fake news. The question is why? Why is the BJP propagandists doling out in this tragic time like vultures fake news in a way that makes India appear like a pack of clowns rather than a serious country? And third, why is a set of people from Indian media who support...
I'll give you a chance to respond. Let him finish though, please.
Allow me complete. So, reporting in Israel in a one-sided manner, led by the government. These are important questions. As far as the tragedy in Israel as well as tragedy in Gaza is concerned, it is unthinkable. Children dying, brutally killed by a terrorist organization, and then hospitals getting bombed, propaganda on top of it. The fact that each of us cannot even imagine the kind of scale of tragedy that is erupting there means that none of us are in a position to comment on it with great knowledge as well as use it in any format. The BJP is the only party in India that, from its propagandists to its trolls to its right-wing IT cell to its ministers to its chief ministers such as the Assam chief minister, is using this tragedy in a vulture-like manner for propaganda.
Okay, so Sanju Verma, can you respond to the point that Ghanshyam is making? Why is the foreign press then saying there is a shift of stand by India when you are saying there is no shift of stand? We're always reiterating, our commitment to the Palestinian cause, and yet at the same time, also, the last point that he made, which I think you need to come in and defend. Himanta Biswa Sarma saying that let Pawar send Supriya Sule. As a woman politician, he's being accused of being misogynistic. Would you condemn that?
I heard all that. Now it's my turn to speak, and I will, pointedly rebut what the Samajwadi Party spokesperson has said. First and foremost, let's be very clear. Do we stand with the people of Palestine? Yes. Do we stand with the civilians of Israel? Yes. But do we call out the bluff of Hamas, which was set up in 1987 and clearly tells that we subscribe to the Muslim Brotherhood ideology? We do not want a separate Palestinian state. Hamas clearly says all we want is the annihilation of Israel, the annihilation of Jews. Point number one. Point number two. Unfortunately, Ghanshyam Tiwari, who masquerades as a well-read person, needs to understand that Modi does not need to learn foreign policy from the Samajwadi Party, whose leader Akhilesh Yadav, when the Indian Mujahideen, attacked the Daseshwar Ghat in Uttar Pradesh in 2006, in 2008 and 2010. Thrice the Indian Mujahideen had, attacked Uttar Pradesh. And what did Akhilesh Yadav do? He went running to the Allahabad High Court, he went running to Lucknow, and he told the court, Indian Mujahideen is not a terror organization. और वाराणसी में जो अटैक हुए हैं उसके साथ इंडियन मुजाहिदीन का कोई लेना देना नहीं है. Who are we talking about here? We are talking about Sharad Pawar, who has been an erstwhile defense minister, a couple of times the chief minister of Maharashtra. Today his daughter is giving bhashan on women empowerment. Let me remind Supriya, Sule through your show, Zaka, that it is the same Sharad Pawar-led alliance which in May 2022, for a month, Ketaki Chitale, a young Marathi actor, was arrested and was kept in prison for 1 month for an innocuous poem against Sharad Pawar and was slapped with serious charges of section 500, 501 and 505 of the IPC. So please do not give us bhashan on morality.
Let me ask Seema Malik this. Seema Malik, on the one hand, terror needs to be called out and the Prime Minister has called terror out. Anybody in his position leading the government of India would have done exactly that. That is what Manmohan Singh did when 26/11 happened. And like I said earlier, we as victims of terrorism for the last 30, 40 years, Pakistan's state-sponsored terrorism has claimed countless Indian lives. How can we be seen as standing on the side where the terrorists are also saying and trying to justify their attack by saying, oh, they are the occupiers, oh, they are subjugating us, oh, they are keeping us in an open-air prison. No matter what the causes are, what the underlying causes may be, you cannot kill innocent civilians to make a political point. It's as simple as that, Seema Malik.
Yes, can I answer that? Yeah, I was listening to you, sir. This is, I don't know how come you are telling us that we are justifying terrorism or something else. So this is a kind of narrative which I think people are spreading, and this is totally wrong. I would say that my party never supported terrorism, and we are not trying to justify their terrorist activity or something. So this is absolutely, I don't know from where you are getting this thing.
No, but Mr. Pawar said
we
that
are not
Mr.
supporting
Modi has
terrorism.
done.
Let me speak. I'll give 2, 3. I just want to
Sure.
speak
Make
on
your
2
point.
or 3 points.
Since you asked me where it's coming from, since you asked me where it's coming from.
You guys are talking about us like this, so I just want to make it clear
I'm telling you where it's coming from. Your leader, Mr. Pawar, said it.
See what Pawar Sahab said. Pawar Sahab. Yes, Mr. Pawar is a very senior, experienced leader. He is a statesman, politician, and he won't say anything like that. See what he said. He just pointed out the thing that there was a contradiction between the statements by the External Affairs Ministry and by the PIR national head. At one time, and one External Affairs Ministry, they said that they support the Palestinian cause, and they are supporting they will always support Palestinians to make them independent and a viable state. And at the same time, our national head said that he expressed his solidarity with the Israel. So Pawar Sahab just pointed out this thing that there is a contradiction between the government's statement and the
if I may ask you,
head.
So today the Prime Minister has spoken to the Palestinian leader and he's tweeted about it as well. So
Yes,
India
1 hour
has
back,
not
1 hour
India
back,
has
sir,
not
1
given
hour
up
back,
on the
1 hour
Palestinian
back,
cause.
1 hour back, and this statement was given 12 days back.
No, but that's because the attack happened 12 days back. No, the October 7th attack happened 10 days back.
But at that time, there was a contradiction between the statement of the External Affairs Ministry and our national head. So he just pointed out this point. He said nothing else, and so I don't know why. What kind of narrative you?
No, but if you take the same argument, Chaitanya Singh is waiting patiently. Once again, Sanju Verma, Sino Malik. 1 second, please, ladies. Let me go to Chaitanya Singh. You know, if you take the same argument that Mr. Pawar is making, or Hamas is making, let's say, that the terror is happening because you are not granting the Palestinian people their right to self-determination. That is the same argument that's being taken by Pakistan also in the context of Kashmir. Pakistan is saying that terror is happening because you are not giving the Kashmiri people right to self-determination.
Look, the Nationalist Congress Party unequivocally condemns all sorts of violence as a political party. We are extremely concerned about what is happening in Gaza. Whether it is a Jew or a Palestinian, human life is human life. It's invaluable. We as a country have been a sufferer of terrorism since a very, very, very long time, since the past 70 years. So any form of violence needs to be condemned by all parties. There is an attempt by certain opposition parties to politicize this issue. You know, foreign affairs are very complex matters. Never before this sort of politicization has been seen of foreign affairs. In the past also, like I've heard many opposition leaders quoting Mr. Vajpayee that, he was supported this one or that one. Politics has changed over the time. But if Vajpayee is the yardstick, then they must also show the same level of maturity that he had shown while he was in opposition. He would always support the government of India on whatever stand it took on foreign affairs. So I think it's too much to expect of us, of this government, to expect that kind of maturity from the opposition parties of today. So our party, our leaders, Shri Praful Patel ji, Shri Sharad Pawar ji, have all condemned this violence, and whoever is doing it, however it's happening, communication, peaceful talks are should always be the way forward.
Okay. Ghanshyam Tiwari, let me ask you that question. One second, ma'am. Ghanshyam Tiwari, the same argument that Hamas is giving or supporters of Hamas are giving is the same argument that Pakistan also gives, that terror is happening because you are not recognizing the Kashmiri people and their right to self-determination. That's why there is terror. The moment you give them that right, the terror will go away. So it's the same argument. How can you buy that argument? The idea that you can target civilians for a political cause or whatever, howsoever justifiable your cause may be, by targeting civilians, that's a red line that cannot be crossed.
Well, if you look at the numbers, nearly 5,000 people have been killed, nearly 1,000 children. Who has not crossed that line? Has Israel not crossed that line? So the question is that I am not here to sit in judgment of this tragedy that is unfolding. That even in Israel, that a large number of people and the national press is writing that Benjamin Netanyahu supported Hamas. So over here with half knowledge and a mind of propaganda, you asked a very simple question to Sanju Verma. Why is the foreign press saying that the Prime Minister has shifted the goalpost on foreign policy? Did you get an answer? Did your viewers get an answer? There's an NCP spokesperson who's saying that we should be Vajpayee-like. I mean, if this is the pen, if you can see, this is what the Ajit Pawar faction is, Dhakkan. They have been broken down by BJP. They are part of a government that has no legal basis. The Supreme Court is asking them, the Speaker, to do his duties. I mean, the BJP has NDA alliance partners who the pen is gone and Dhakkan remains. So they are saying that what India should do. The point is very simple. Since day one, I have asked BJP spokespersons, has the foreign policy of India changed? They have gone over the place,
I
all over the
want to
place.
answer
You tell me
this.
one reason why BJP, who sponsors the largest IT cell of the world, has to be a
We
propagandist
are
in this
not
tragic
discussing
tragedy.
the IT cell.
What gives the right? Are they
Ghanshyam
the
Tiwari,
global
you are in the wrong
propagandists
debate.
of the
You are
day?
out of syllabus
What is
as
this
always.
nonsense? They are making
You are
India
out
look
of
like a pack
syllabus
of
as
clowns
always. Stop
because their
talking rubbish all
propagandists
the
who
time.
don't have knowledge, who don't have empathy, will go out and peddle fake news and bring bad name to the country.
Zaka,
Has a
is
Okay.
that
single
the
leader
topic of
of
your
No,
debate?
so
BJP
let her respond. Let her respond.
This is
You
the
know,
topic of
the
your debate.
BJP's position, Ghanshyam, is or the government's position has been articulated by the MEA spokesperson. So I don't know why you're saying that there is a change,
I want to answer this.
but Sanju Verma respond. Yes.
Thank you.
How many days did MEA took the
Zaka, can I please?
position?
Yes. Let Sanju respond. Yes.
Thank you. You know, I just want to say this. I clearly told Ghanshyam and your audience, more importantly, because I really don't care beyond the point about what Ghanshyam thinks. I want your audience to know we support the civilians on both sides of the spectrum, be it innocent Palestinians or innocent Israelis. At the same time, the people of Palestine are not equal to Hamas. Hamas is a terror outfit which has led down Gazans. Point number 3, currently Gaza is with Hamas. It is not under Israeli occupation. Point number 4, there are many international journalists, the likes of Mehdi Hassan. I have no love lost for him. I think he runs a peddled narrative, but even he has admitted that the attack, you know, which left a couple of people dead, and now there are reports it was not 500 or 600 people, it was less than a dozen people, though every life counts. Those rockets were misfired by Hamas and they landed in that parking lot next to the hospital, leading to casualty of civilians. And the Israeli Foreign Affairs Department has released an audio between two Hamas terrorists where they are saying and admitting that the geolocation, the camera footage and remains of the shrapnel clearly indicate that this rocket, which misfired and landed at a parking lot next to the hospital, was fired by Hamas, not by Israelis. And my last point to Ghanshyam. Ghanshyam, the foreign policy is very simple in this language. If I enter your house unprovoked and I start butchering your kith and kin, are you going to stand there looking at me or are you going to retaliate? Answer that. क्या आप बोलोगे सब चंगा सी आइए मेरे घर के अंदर घुसिए, मेरी बीवी बच्चों को तार कीजिए, बुजुर्गों को काट कर फेंक दीजिए? Is that what you are endorsing? Because not once on this show you have said Hamas is a terror outfit. But I'm not surprised, because when that blast happened in Varanasi at Sankat Mochan Mandir, when that blast happened in 2008 at the Dashashwamedh Ghat in Varanasi, your Akhilesh Yadav was standing in solidarity with Indian Mujahideen.
Ghanshyam, quick response. I need to go to Seema Malik and Chaitanya Singh after that. Yeah, quick response.
For the holier than thou torchbearer of humanity BJP, their sitting chief minister in Assam and Ram Madhav is accused of partnering with terrorist groups for election benefits.
So why don't you tell
The only party that brought infamy to India.
Ma'am, please. When you spoke and you spoke for long, he was quiet. Now let him speak, please. Thank you.
A person accused of terror charges as a member of parliament who hates Mahatma Gandhi, who loves Nathuram Godse, the first terrorist of India, who killed the father of the nation, cheered by RSS, still cheered by BJP. So BJP cannot lecture India.
Ma'am, please. Let him speak. Yeah.
BJP cannot lecture India on violence. It cannot lecture India on terrorism. It has not 100, 200, 300, 400, nearly 450 sitting MPs and MLAs with criminal charges. No other party in the history of India has so many people with criminal charges.
Ghanshyam, what has that got to do with the debate topic? Yeah, let's talk about the debate topic.
She was talking about Varanasi and lecturing us on terrorism. I was just mentioned that the news headline, not even a year-old news headline, is that their chief ministers and their leaders compromised India's national interest by seeking support from terrorists for Manipur elections, a state that they have left to burn, where the Prime Minister is scared of going, which faces terrorism every day. So BJP cannot lecture. The point is very simple. BJP should shut down the propagandists who are bringing infamy to India by peddling fake news in the face of this tragedy, and the government should have a humanistic stand.
So let me go back to Seema Malik and to Chaitanya Singh, and I'll get closing comments from both of them. Seema Malik, the point, and again this is the moot point, that for the longest time India did not have diplomatic ties with Israel. It started in 1992. Mr. Pawar was very much part of the government of Mr. Narasimha Rao when we had diplomatic ties. And subsequently, numerous events have happened, diplomatic relations have happened, even when UPA was in power between India and Israel. So for Mr. Pawar to say that what Mr. Modi has done is suddenly a change of India's stand, that is being disingenuous. If he was opposed to, establishing diplomatic ties with Israel in 1992, he should have walked out from the government at that time. He didn't do that. He was very much part of the government.
It is not like this that we are not recognizing Israel or something. And what he said, I told you very clearly that he said that the two, the ministry and the nation headers, they are giving contradictory statements. And see, we are always, I told you that we are always against terrorist activities and everything. So there is no point in repeating all those things. And one thing I like to tell you that we strongly condemn. Because I don't know whether we strongly condemn the statement by the Hemant Biswa on Supriya Thai, and this is it is not only we or the NCP women or something. I think the women, all the women of this nation, nobody will appreciate.
So, Sanju Verma, you haven't responded to the Hemanta Biswa jibe and the answer that you need to give on that specifically, please. And after that, final word to Chaitanya Singh. Quickly, thank you.
Their rotten mind and not ours.
Yeah. You asked a question. Let Sanju Verma respond quickly, please. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm running out of time.
Zaka, I just have this to say. I think today the first citizen of India, and everyone on this panel will admit, is our Honorable President Draupadi Murmu. After she became President, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary of the Congress and a senior leader and a member of Parliament called her Rashtra Patni, and the national spokesperson of Congress, Ajay Kumar, said that Draupadi Murmu represents the evil philosophy of India and the evil philosophy of RSS. Did Sharad Pawar condemn?
Ma'am, what has that got to do with what Hemanta Biswa said against Supriya Sule? What has one got to do with another? Again, like Ghanshyam, I'm asking you, what is the relevance to the debate?
Collective amnesia here. Can't you see the hypocrisy, Zaka? So Supriya Sule is relevant, but Draupadi Murmu is not.
Why this kind
Because today Hemanta Biswa said that Supriya Sule should be sent to fight on behalf of Hamas.
Supriya Sule. I'm calling out the hypocrisy of Sharad Pawar. Is it so difficult for you to see that, Zaka?
No, but Sanju Verma, will you call out the hypocrisy of Hemanta Biswa? Or at least will you condemn the language that he used?
That was metaphorical.
Metaphorical.
Yes, of course.
Okay. All right. Chaitanya saying final word. Sanju Verma says it was metaphorical. It doesn't matter what is metaphorical or lyrical. I'll leave that to the imagination of our viewers. But the point is that this whole thing, this whole Israel-Hamas war is playing itself out, and BJP is also happy to keep this sort of pot boiling because in a way it helps the BJP, it polarizes narrative. As somebody said on Twitter, Indians are vicariously, living through this war. It might be a Jew versus Arab war, but Indians are vicariously living through this war because at the end of the day, Israeli victims and Indian victims are in the same boat. We have been victims of terror. So somewhere, politically, this pot is being kept boiling by you and your alliance partner because it suits you politically.
It would be, to belittle a situation like war and think about political gains about it is not what the Nationalist Congress Party is thinking or doing or even thinking on those lines. The BJP, the Prime Minister himself has condemned not only the Hamas but even Israel. They have condemned all sorts of violence. Now, whether or not if the opposition is actually assuming that somebody is enjoying the polarization or there is some sort of polarization that is happening, that is what I was saying previously also. The opposition is, it has, there has been a long-standing tradition in India that the opposition always follows the government, the Union of India on foreign policy. Sadly, that is not being followed today. The opposition is giving, speeches and making statements on television. They should rather engage with the government on getting, if they have certain inputs to give to the government, they must engage with the government and be productive about it rather than criticizing them.
All right, I got to leave it at that. But thank you very much to all our guests because clearly, while this war may be happening away in foreign shores and far away from India, it clearly is having domestic resonance, it is having domestic relevance, and perhaps it suits all political parties, all sides coming into this debate, because like I said, and I want to paraphrase somebody on Twitter who said that there is a certain vicarious sort of living of this war that is happening, especially if you look at social media, maybe not in everyday conversation, street side conversation, but certainly in social media chatter, there is this whole business of trying to live vicariously through this Jew-Arab war or this Israel-Hamas war, because Indians too have been victims of terror sponsored by a state for the last 30 years. I'm going to